Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I can't hear you. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Good. So when we woke up this morning and we're listening to the forecast, it was cloudy, cloudy, cloudy. And at first I was just praying that we would get through the day without it raining. But then the clouds disappeared and we have a wonderful day on a very, very special occasion. And so on behalf of the Urban League and the great partners that you will meet in short order, you have to bend down. I want to welcome you to this little piece of paradise in the Lower West Ward, also known as Fairmount Heights. So let's give it up for Fairmount. Thank you. And I'm going to try to be disciplined, not to add too many side stories. I'm going to just facilitate what I hope is going to be a tight presentation of very impressive people. And at first, I want to bring up an important person in our own right, but important to the Urban League of Essex County. Her name is Shakira Green. But before Shakira comes up, I'm going to just read a little bit about you. I'm going to brag on you, Shakira. So Shakira is the Vice President, Regional Banking District Manager for Wells Fargo. She has demonstrated a demonstrated history of working in the financial service industry. She is skilled in nonprofit organizations, strategic planning, leadership, public speaking, and social media. She's a strong sales professional who focuses on building relationships. But more important than all of that, she is a friend of the Urban League, and she is a friend of the important work that we do. So with no further delay, I will bring up Ms. Shakira Green.
Thank you so much, Darren. And good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Again, my name is Shakira Green. I am a Vice President for Wells Fargo Bank, serving the Essex County community. I am also a proud member of the Board of Trustees of the Urban League of Essex County. And it is my distinct honor to welcome you to the Revitalization Fairmount Collaborative event in Newark today. The city of Newark is blessed with great leadership in its companies, its community organizations, and its elected officials. Newark is a city on the rise. And as Mayor Ras Barak would say, we are moving Newark forward. I want to recognize Vivian Cox-Fraser, the Board of Trustees, and the entire staff of Urban League for their year-round advocacy on behalf of the city's residents for organizing today's events. Wells Fargo is thrilled to be a long-standing supporter of the Urban League here in Essex County and across the country. I also want to recognize Mayor Ras Baraka, Council President Mildred Crump, Councilman Joseph McCallum, and any other elected officials that are here today. Do we have any that was not announced? Welcome, welcome. All right. We'd also like to thank Rhonda Lewis, Executive Director of Greater Newark, Dr. Charles Payne, the Director of Cornwell Center of Metropolitan Studies at Rutgers University, Dorian Johnson, President of the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, and all of you for being here today. Thank you for your invaluable contributions to make this city great. And it's getting greater by the day with a lot of exciting announcements like the one you're going to hear today. From my very own Wells Fargo family, I want to recognize Denise McGregor Armbrister, the Regional Bank President, Mr. Greg White, Tomas Pantores, Lauren Mikos, and Crystal Dundas. Thank you so much to my Wells Fargo family for being here supporting this event today. Today's occasion is a powerful display of what happens when community partners come together. Today, we reflect on the progress Fairmount has made, and we also look to the future. Today's event is also about renewing our commitment to this neighborhood and ensuring it can continue to be safe and a vibrant community for future generations to come. I've been fortunate enough to serve the Newark area for over 5 years, and my team and I have supported the Urban League, Fairmount Community Festivals, and local service projects. At these events, one thing always stands out, and that is the community spirit and resiliency of the Fairmount neighborhood. One of the key ingredients to sustain a community is its people, the residents. Another key ingredient to sustain a community is access to funding and great leadership, and that's why we're here today. So, I am extremely pleased to introduce Denise McGregor Armbruster, a Senior Vice President and Executive Director of the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, to the podium. She has, again, an exciting announcement to make. Denise is no stranger to the Newark community. She oversees the Regional Foundation team, which is responsible for supporting long-term, resident-driven neighborhood revitalization in New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So, without further ado, please help me recognize Ms. Denise.
Well, thank you, Shakira, and good morning, everyone. As has been mentioned, my name is Denise McGregor Armbruster, and I do serve, and I say it with pleasure and with privilege, as the Executive Director of the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation. And also, as Shakira mentioned, I'm joined by many of my colleagues from Wells Fargo, and I'm just going to ask if you could all just raise your hands so that we can see you. We are so very happy to be with you this morning for this very exciting event. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, we are actually a private foundation with an affiliation with Wells Fargo Bank. Our mission is to improve the lives of children and families living throughout Eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, and we do that by supporting the neighborhood revitalization in those communities. We believe, as you heard today, that by engaging residents in the development of a comprehensive neighborhood revitalization plan, that in the future of their neighborhood, entire communities become engaged and really, really change begins to happen. The Wells Fargo Regional Foundation is very pleased to continue to support the work of the Urban League of Essex County. We began back in, I think, 2009 with a modest, well, maybe not so modest, grant to support the comprehensive neighborhood plan for the Fairmount Heights neighborhood of Newark. Implementation of that Fairmount Heights neighborhood plan began in 2011, and we were here, I think, again on this very spot to celebrate that. The collaboration has grown over the years, and the Urban League has continued to be a leader and a champion of revitalization for the residents and for this community. And because of that, we have seen increased resident engagement, the creation of the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, improved green spaces such as this, expanded affordable housing opportunities, enhanced out-of-school programs for youth, and many, many other activities in the community. Now, the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation only funds projects that we believe will create long-term sustainable change. Long-term sustainable change. Projects that help rebuild and revitalize neighborhoods. Our partnership with the Urban League of Essex County has proven to do just that by demonstrating a strong, strong commitment to resident engagement and collaboration. Now, all that has been accomplished in this community could not have happened if you all did not come together to develop a well-thought-out plan that serves for the vision for the future of this neighborhood. Now, each of the collaborative members really bring a unique and significant strength to the table. Now, we know that in order to successfully implement a plan, it does not take just the commitment of leaders, residents, and stakeholders. It also takes resources. And that is why I am so very pleased and delighted to announce today that the Board of Directors of the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation has awarded a grant in the amount, okay, are you ready? Of $825,000. Again, I'll say that again, $825,000 to to the Urban League of Essex County to continue their collaboration and implement the vision set out in the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Revitalization Plan. So again, congratulations, and Vivian and the other members of the collaborative, I'd like to ask you to step up here because I have a big check for you.
So I've got to let my heart palpitations kind of calm down, because it's not often that we get an award of that size. And so from this entire community, we're very grateful. Thank you, Denise. So the next partner that I want to bring up, if she's not here, oh, I think she's here, is Rhonda A. Lewis. And she's executive director from LISC. And Rhonda has become more than a partner. She's become a member of our family. We spend half of our time at their offices. They spend half of their time here. But we couldn't have a stronger partner with the important work that we're involved in. So I'm going to bring Rhonda up. Rhonda, I want to read a little thing about you. Can I? There you go. Okay. So Rhonda A. Lewis has served as the executive director of Greater Newark LISC since 2012. Ms. Lewis has led a long and distinguished career in community development. During her decade-long tenure as president and executive director of Bridge Street Development Corporation, she built the organization into one of the premier faith-based community development corporations in New York. Prior to that, she served as director of economic development at New York City LISC, where she played a critical role in the development of more than $100 million in transactions, the delivery of critical technical assistance, and the building of relationships with key funders, investors, public officials, and community stakeholders. She holds a BA in environmental design and planning from the State University of Buffalo. And so you can see why we're doing incredible things. With that amount of expertise and experience, we're lucky to have you as a trusted partner in the work that we do. So why don't you come up, Rhonda?
So good morning, everyone. I think that when I say partner, there are many partners that we have in the city of Newark, but I have to say that the Urban League is a very special partner because, as Darren said, we do spend a lot of time together. We spend a lot of time strategizing and thinking of what it is, but what I really like about the Urban League is that they have a lot of vision, but they also have the tenacity to take on special projects and things that are difficult, and they're not timid by taking on those difficult projects. But the most important thing is that they involve the residents who live in the Fairmount community, as you will hear from some of the other partners today. But, you know, because of that, we have, over the last 6 years, partnered with them to take on projects such as the Financial Opportunity Center and helping the residents of the Fairmount community build wealth and create jobs, and they do a tremendous job of that. They also are working with us to build the leadership of the residents in the community, as well as safety, which is a big factor. I think when they first got the Wells Fargo grant, they surveyed over 500 residents, and the most important thing to residents was safety. And so they have been working diligently over the last 6 years on making the Fairmount community a place where people want to live, work, and call their home. And we are honored today not only to partner with the Urban League, but the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, the Cornwall Center, Rutgers, and the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, because together I think that we will make a big difference in what this community looks like. It will be a very vibrant. It has a lot of assets already, but it will continue to be a vibrant community. And so I thank the Wells Fargo Community Foundation, Vivian, Charles Payne, as well as my other partner, Darian Johnson. So thank you, because it does take a village to make these communities vibrant.
So the next person I want to bring up is a person that I've gotten to know, I guess, over the last several months, and he holds a very distinguished position at my alma mater, Rutgers Newark. So, yes, Chancellor Cantor, Rutgers is in the house. Dr. Charles M. Payne, and I affectionately refer to him as Doc. And Charles M. Payne is the Henry Rutgers Distinguished Professor of African American Studies at Rutgers University, Newark, and the director of the Joseph Cornwall Center for Metropolitan Research. His research and teaching interests include urban education and school reform, social inequality, social change, and modern African American history, particularly the Black freedom struggle. His books include So Much Reform, So Little Change, which examines the persistence of failure in urban schools, and a co-edited anthology, Teach Freedom, the African American Tradition of Education for Liberation, which is concerned with education as a tool for liberation from Reconstruction through Children's Defense Fund Freedom Schools. He is also the author of Getting What We Ask For, The Ambiguity of Success and Failure in Urban Education, and I've Got the Light of Freedom, The Organizing Tradition in the Mississippi Civil Rights Movement. The latter has won awards from the Southern Regional Council, Choice Magazine, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the Gustav Myers Center for the History of Human Rights in North America. He is co-author of Debating the Civil Rights Movement and co-editor of Time Longer Than Rope, A Century of African American Activism. And so with the existence of Amazon, you can just Google any one of those books and get a lot of knowledge. So we'll bring up Dr. Payne.
Principal Rose, would you, with all the 13th Avenue folks, just take a step forward. I want people to be able to see you. Because this is the group that I will be talking about. So, the Cornwall Center at Rutgers is very, very happy to be partnering with Wells Fargo and the Urban League in support of some of the work that we have been able to do, especially some of the work that Principal Rose, would you wave? Principal Rose started at 13th Avenue this year. Earlier this fall, she was thinking about ways to increase parent engagement at 13th Avenue, and after a series of conversations, we developed a program in which a group of parents would work in the school 20 hours a week as paraprofessionals. They were trained primarily by her staff to support literacy instruction. That means they tutor students in classes individually. They work with students in small groups so that teachers can work with other students who most need it. They support our after-school programming. They have gotten all kinds of ideas into their heads that we did not put there, right? They have come up with a community food pantry. I think they have 2 gardens that they are around the school that they are in the process of establishing. And just this Saturday, they had a just great community health fair just a few blocks from here, right? And so this program is doing several things. It's directly helping some individual kids. One, it's changing the culture in the schools. Schools are different places when there are a bunch of neighborhood parents in visible, important, and kind of authoritative positions, right? They're not just emptying trash cans and washing blackboards. And the kids know that, and they appreciate that. And they're becoming leaders in their community. They're becoming advocates for children. And I want to acknowledge particularly that in Chicago, I've worked with programs like this, I don't know, 10 years, something like that. I'm an old guy. Working with the Urban League is changing the way in which we think about this program, right? The Urban League has added some components, financial literacy training for parents, job counseling for parents. The parents are really excited about the possibility of homesteading that Urban League has connected them to. Those are components that we don't have in the other places where we have done this work. And so we are very grateful for the support that we're having. What the support we're getting from Wells Fargo is going to allow us to expand the program into other schools in Fairmount. It will allow us to start discussion with other schools about some of our common problems. the problems we all have with absenteeism, the problem we all have with not enough 3- and 4-year-olds being enrolled in preschool. And so for us, this grant is a very, very important turning point. And one last acknowledgement. Nancy, would you step forward, please? You're hiding behind the parents. Well, step forward for a second. I just want to say, this program started late in the year. This was not budgeted last year. This is one of those ideas you get on the fly, right? My boss found some money in some budget someplace to get this program off the ground, and I just want to say we're all very grateful to her too. But above all, we're grateful to these parents who really made a contribution at that school. Thank you.
So before I bring up the next person, I just want to give some shout outs to additional elected officials. And so I know Kim Gaddy, board member, is here. Recently elected Asia Norton is here. Thank you for coming. And then I see our other foundation partners, Irene Cooper-Bosch is here. And then the NAACP, Deborah's in the house, Joe from Ironbound, and Jeremy Johnson. When you walk in, you could not help but notice the beautiful, beautiful mural right in front of the garden, and it was somebody in Jeremy's network, and that's just an indication of what kind of talent we have in this entire city, and that he brought that incredible gift and is going to be there forever. Jeremy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So the next person that I want to bring up is a person that is near and dear to me, and I think Rhonda mentioned easily 5, maybe 6 years ago, we had to do a resident survey, and we knocked on literally hundreds and hundreds of doors in the Fairmount section, and it was remarkable conversations that we had with people. But then we had vision sessions, we had spaghetti dinners, and this next individual, who I have so much respect for, he came to a spaghetti dinner only to get a dinner. He tells a story better than me, but when we got to know each other and he became a part of what we were undertaking, I couldn't have more respect for an amazing person, and I will let him tell you how long he has lived in Fairmount. So thank you for welcoming us to your community, and he is the president of the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, Dorian Johnson. Why don't you come up?
Wow, thank you for that. Paid you well. I greatly appreciate that, though. I really do. It's a good day, isn't it? This is a blessed day. God is good, right? All the time? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I just want to thank you for this day, one to Wells Fargo, because what you do is bring life in this community. And with the Fairmount Association, the work that we do, we really, really appreciate that, because it makes us feel good. I've been living here in Fairmount for 57 years, right? My parents, they no longer with me, but I've been here this long. So I've seen the good, and I've seen the bad and the ugly, but it's only getting better. And when I came aboard here, which I did not expect, it's true, I only wanted a spaghetti dinner, and I went in there and I saw the strategic plan. And I never been to a meeting where I saw a strategic plan. I said, what is this? And I said, wow, this sounds pretty good. They talked about crime and safety in my neighborhood and so forth. So that caught my attention. And then I was watching a basketball game one night, and it was gunshots right across the street from me. Unfortunately, a 20-something-year-old man got killed. And I thought to myself, I have to do something. I got to be involved. So when I saw this plan, and I said, oh, this is something really great. And then I got to meet the Urban League, and they've been kind of a quest for us. We just jumped on board with them, and I said, wow. And then to get a grant like this from Wells Fargo, we've been able to do different things and feed people in our community. We've been able to work with children. We even went out there and had people learn how to ride bicycles. Now, that was interesting, because there was a lot of kids that didn't even know how to ride a bike, because kids need recreation, right? They didn't know how to ride a bike. But the interesting thing, too, the parents didn't know how to ride a bike either, because they couldn't afford to get a bike. But we were out there teaching them that. And then going into Kaboom Park and feeding people, just having hamburgers and hot dogs, relating to the children out there, watching them play. They don't have that here. We don't have any green space because we just got the cemetery over here. That's all they have. So when grants like this come along, we can do and build different things and build the association. And that's what is a part of me. I just want to acknowledge some of our Fairmount residents over here who are part of the association. Can you please put your hands up? I love them so much because they dedicate themselves to this community. And we need that. We need that. We work with the pastors here. With them, we have our meetings every month, and people are getting more involved. There are people in the neighborhoods that are cleaning up now because they see what we're doing and the partners we have. It's such a good feeling. It's a blessing for me. So I feel good for this day because when I go out here in my streets and I see the bad, like I said, but now we talk to people with the leadership that Liz has taught us to go out there talking to people, getting them involved, getting other leaders and building that. It's all about them little kids right there. They're our future. So we have to do things here, and maybe they catch on, and they're the future leaders, and they'll do some things also with what we're doing. But I want to thank the Urban League also, because they've always had our back, no matter what. You can see the switching station over there. That looks like that for a reason, because of the hard work that was put in. And it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that now. But it's the hard work that's put in. So I'm excited about it. I'm going to my next meeting on Tuesday. We're bringing more people in, and we're gonna tell them and say, look, we got to continue to build on. Keep it going. Just keep it going. Do something in your community. It makes you feel good. I remember we had a recreation with the kids playing basketball, and there was this one kid that kept coming with the same clothes on every time, and his head was down. He wasn't feeling good. You know, we said, something's wrong here. And I remember talking to Ms. Cheryl Howard, who was our coordinator at the time. I said, something is wrong here. And found out this kid, he was hungry. You know, there was some things going on at the home and everything. And we said, we got to do something about it. We got to get some money and buy some clothes for this kid or something. We have to do something. And that's what happened. This kid started smiling. He started walking better. He felt like he was a part of the group then. And then we noticed also the kids, when we went to feed them lunches, they were hungry. They were hungry, like they didn't eat a meal or something. We knew there was something wrong at the home. So when you're doing things good, you know, sometimes things are a blessing. Things supposed to happen for a reason. And then this kid and these other kids, they started eating and everything, feeling good about themselves, feeling confident. Those are the things you feel good about in your neighborhood. And we want to bring that back. We want to bring that back in this neighborhood, talk to people, talk to these kids. And remember, it's all about them. So I just want to thank you again, Wells Fargo. You know, you have no idea. It's just a wonderful thing for us. But I promise you, we're going to continue to work. We're going to keep doing what we're supposed to do. I want to thank Lisk also, Victorian Foundation. Thank you so much. We greatly, greatly appreciate everything you do. So thank you so much.
So the perfect segue, Mr. Johnson said it's all about the kids. So I'm going to bring two groups of kids. I'm going to bring our young leaders up, the wonderful, beautiful babies in our preschool. And so if you stand up and kind of bring them around. And then I want to bring their bigger mentors, our superstars from North Star. And so why don't you guys come in front of the bigger people.
Spring is here. Spring is here. Goodbye, snow. Flowers grow. Birds and bees. Leaves on the trees. Hello, spring. Hello, spring.
Yeah. We have another one?
So is there another class, Ms. Ronnie?
All right, coming up on the rear, there's another preschool class that will sing a song for us. Okay, let's give him one more round of applause. And so for the next person, he does not need any introduction. And in fact, my instinct was to Google the city's webpage. I said, wait a minute, I know this individual. And so I just reflected on my time with him. We've kind of known each other for a while, but served for 4 years on the Newark Municipal Council. And there were a lot of important issues that came before us. And I would say there was not any daylight between the things that we stood for to move the city forward. And we are just past an election. That's the great thing about our democracy, is that people put their ideas forward and then people go to the polls. And I'm happy to say that the mayor that we had in 2014 will be with us for another 4 years. And I'll let him talk about all the important things that he has done and all the exciting things that we at the Urban League are looking forward to working with the administration on. And so, forward ever.
Backwards never.
I'll bring you the Honorable Raz J. Baraka.
Darren, I was looking forward to the campaign being over. Lord knows. Thank God for those kids, right? Oh, yeah. Thank God that spring is really here now. We've been waiting for it for a long time. So I just want to say that today, what the Urban League does in this community, Fairmount Association and all the other groups here, is an example of the kind of collaboration that makes our city move forward. Anything that we're still struggling around in this city are things that we have not collaborated on. They are a fine example of how to use creative tension in a way to make outcomes possible for many people in our community. As was said, the wall over there was a struggle. It was a struggle between many, many entities at the table, fighting back and forth. But the key thing is that we were all at the table, and no one got up and walked away from the table until we finished what we set out to start. And that's very, very important. It's an example of good leadership, commitment to the community, a vision, goals, perseverance, and endurance. And most of that stuff, the glue that held most of that together was Vivian Cox-Frazier and the Urban League. And they deserve a tremendous round of applause for the work that they're doing over here in Fairmount. And I'm not saying that simply because she's here. I mean, more and more, and I told her before we came here, she's cutting ribbons all the time. More and more, we begin to have respect for the work that's being done through community organization, through the kind of development that's happening in these neighborhoods, the engagement of residents of this area, from open space to residents, from turning renters into homeowners. The work that's being created here is invaluable. They are a true partner to the city. And this collaboration, this kind of place-based strategy that's taken a core here in this city is tremendous. We want to thank LISC for being a partner with this all the way through. Wells Fargo Foundation for being a part of this as well. It's a great amount of money you gave out. Maybe you can give out some more. If I start some other collaborations around here, we get some more money from you guys. The residents of this area, for their commitment, the teachers, the schools. I mean, this is incredible. The parents that are here as well, Rutgers University, Victoria Foundation. So you have an amalgam of community organizations, private sector money, nonprofit organizations, the university community, everybody coming together and make this real. So you guys deserve an incredible round of applause. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. And what would be great to do is take this show on the road, right? We need to be able to take the successes of what's happening in the Fairmount district and be able to duplicate those things around the city. And the kind of ingenuity, the creativity, and the wherewithal that it took to make these things happen. This is something that needs to be replicated in every community throughout the city of Newark. And when this is done, please don't be shy. Feel free to move this model around the city of Newark, and you know we're going to help you get that done. So God bless you and keep pushing.
I always get nervous when I do this part because I extol all of her virtues and all of her training, and she tells me not to do it. So this organization, the Urban League of Essex County, which, by the way, it is our 100th anniversary, so I think that deserves a round of applause. But Vivian Cox-Frazier came to the Urban League in 2003 when the Urban League was not as stable, I can say that, as it is now. And as she started to shore up the financial house, she started to learn more about the important programs that the Urban League was engaged in and did more research on her own and became really, really invested in this community. And so fast forward from 2003 to 2018, I don't think any objective person could say that we have not done remarkable things in Fairmount, and we've focused on an 80-90 block area and to make an investment that we'll keep investing for the next 100 years. And so with that said, I will bring our fearless leader up, Vivian Cox-Frazier.
All right. I was going to say good morning. That's what I have written here. Might be good afternoon now. But look, we're excited to welcome you to the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Garden. It is said that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And the single step that started our journey here and the transformation of the Urban League from just a social service organization into a community development and community economic development organization was an interaction with a young man just a few blocks from this spot. At the time, we were tutoring about 400 children in our tutoring program, and my tutoring director came in and said, well, I'm not going to make my numbers. And I said, why not? And she said, I don't have enough children. And I said, well, open the door and go get them. And so prior to that, I'm a little ashamed. I didn't think how we did recruitment or how we met our enrollment numbers. But that experience changed us. And it changed the organization because when my team went out, I said you have to either wear a shirt and tie or the Urban League polo. You know, you have to represent an institution. And so they went out and they encountered a young man not 4 blocks from this office. And he really wasn't that interested in what they were talking about initially. And they said, well, we have, job trainings. And all right, Urban League. He really didn't know that much about us. And we said, well, we have this free tutoring. He said, okay, well, a woman over there, she got about 5 kids. They probably could use some tutoring. And so as my team was leaving, he said, I can't believe somebody like you would come talk to somebody like me. So I want that to just marinate a little bit with you, what he was saying. Because what he said to me was that when my team came back and they told me, it said like, well, there's something wrong with what the Urban League was doing. In that if we were not reaching that young man just about 4 blocks from our office, we weren't doing the right work. And so that set us on a path and set me on a path to really think about what was the work of the Urban League and what should we be doing. And if we opened our doors and we saw a community that had suffered from disinvestment, you saw people walking around, you said it seemed like they didn't really have a purpose, that I felt like our work wasn't really in the training rooms where we were training people. Our work had to be out in the streets in this neighborhood. And so that's when we started thinking about what that looked like. And I took my corporate experience. I said, I'm going to do a strategic plan. We're going to do a strategic plan for the neighborhood. And so we would go out and we would have meetings, and I would say, education, education, education. They would say, the trash, the abandoned properties, the crime. I said, oh, wow, the teens don't have anything. So that really made me rethink about what sort of strategic plan we would do. And well, we've had great partners and great friends, and Craig Drinkard at the time said, well, you should look up the Wachovia Foundation at the time, because they do holistic types of plans, because, you know, the administration at the time would talk about the buildings, and I said, well, what about the people? And so that started us and introduced us to the great team at Wells Fargo Regional Foundation. And it's been a partnership that's meant the world to us. It meant the world to me too, because it was the catalyst for changing the way the Urban League did our work. And so we started with a little plan, and that plan is interesting because that plan has led to so many things for this community and for this organization. One, I'll say, because we had a plan, we had a foundation on which to fight the switching station in PSE&G. I'll put it out there, you know, because they wanted to say it's NIMBY. No, it's not NIMBY. We have a plan. And Mr. Shreve was on the council at the time. He would hold up the plan, and then Donna Jackson would hold up the plan. So the plan was being held up all around. So that really gave us standing to say, oh, no, you can't mess with this neighborhood because they have a plan. And Mr. Johnson and the Fairmount Heights Neighborhood Association, they would pull out their plans. So that plan was really important to the work we were doing. And it was also important because we had engaged over 1,000 residents in the development of that plan. So it was not the Urban League's plan. So when people said it's Vivian's, no, it's not. 1,000 people participated in this process. So that plan was important. As you said, it's been a while. I didn't know community development took so long because I'm a type A person. I like to do things fast. And it's slower than I thought. So those 1,000 steps, I probably feel like I already took about close to 1,000 in this journey. But we couldn't have done it without our partners and friends along the way. I mentioned the switching station, the importance of that plan. The other piece the plan did, we were able to apply for something called the Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit Program from the Department of Community Affairs. We needed a plan in order to be included. And so we used our plan that was funded from Wells Fargo to do that. This year, our award was $985,000. And companies invest in that, and well, some of our new friends, PSE&G among them, you know, they invested in our plan so that we can also bring more partners to our table. So we have J&E Construction is here. They are partnering with us in our NRTC plan. We have Steve Gomez from Greater Newark Enterprise Corporation going to work with the small businesses in the neighborhood. He's now part of the collaborative. So we've been able to expand our collaboration, really, I think, on the foundation of the plan that was originally funded by Wells Fargo. So I think that deserves a round of applause for Wells Fargo Regional Foundation and all that they've done to help us. And so I'm not going to go on much longer. I guess I recognize my board members that are here. I see Archie's back there. He's doing a lot of Urban League work these days, right? And so let's see. I just want to make sure I forget anything because I sort of went off of my script here. Darren took all of the pretty things I was going to say about everybody. But let's just say that this garden is a pretty restful place, right? So, you know, that's really, it was started with when the school was Martin Luther King Jr. School. We started working in the garden with the children. And now it's North Star. And North Star is here. And we still work with them. And we work with everyone in the community to make this a better place, that this garden itself is a holistic place. I'd like to recognize our gardeners, Miss Susan over there, and wait a minute, she's not alone, wait a minute, Mr. Trevor Cummings, he's a gardener too. They're our master gardeners, they garden here, they're in our seniors program, and they have a lot of wisdom. And I want you to know this is a holistic place because everything in it is organic, okay? So we had to even buy organic paint for the thing. It's organic paint, organic seeds, organic soil. I was like, organic, you know, that cost a lot, but they insisted that they wanted to develop an organic garden in this space. It's a place for children to learn. We also got funding from the Department of Environmental Protection last year. We have a beekeeping program Mr. Royston, I think he's here, our beekeeper. I saw him. Maybe he's left, but we actually there are some beehives behind there, and we have a beekeeping program, and we trained teens last year. They all got certified in beekeeping and gardening, and I understand that Miss Susan has a microscope, and she's ready for the children to come over and learn about the plants in the garden. So I hope you enjoyed the day. We certainly appreciate all of you coming out. I see Chip is here, so we know we need the regional business partnership involved in the neighborhoods too, so we're glad you're here. And everyone else in here, I see Diane Hill. Diane Hill now, that's my ride or die, right? We know, some of y'all know what that is. And we've been at this for a while, but we know we're not stopping. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Urban League team, because they've been doing a lot of work. And work that's not in their job description, except that line that's other duties as assigned. So we're pretty good at doing that. But certainly it says we're in this Martin Luther King garden. We know Dr. King had a dream. And one of my staff members said, we were all running around today. She said, teamwork makes the dream work. So that's why we're all here. You're all part of the Urban League team, part of the Fairmount team. I see band back there too. So we're all together in this work, and I thank you so much. I appreciate your support, your commitment, and I really appreciate the education that I've received even working in this community with the Fairmount Heights residents, listening to them and understanding. Some things take an institution. So I just want to say that, it's not that people don't want to do better. They're trying every day. But sometimes you need a little institutional power behind you just to help you. And that's what we're here to do, help, not to lead, but to help. And so I thank you for being here. We also have, are you going to talk about the Fairmount restaurants? Or yeah. I'll let you do that. Okay, so I'm done. Thank you.
So just
presentation for them.
So we have a presentation of the flowers. They're floating around here somewhere, so if we can bring them up. But a point of personal privilege, and she's going to kill me, Lois and Crystal. I know they're part of the, right, they're going to come up.
Yeah.
But Lois is a tremendous quarterback, and so Lois come up, and Crystal come up. And then I want to give a quick shout out to the AmeriCorps members. Yep. We have them over there somewhere. Where are you? Yep. So let's give it up for them. And so I hope so what we did for your food enjoyment, because we believe in everybody being invested in the community. And so from the Blueberry Cafe, and I know our esteemed mayor has visited that institution one or a lot of occasions, right? And from the Chinese food restaurant in the strip mall on Market Street to Blempies to so many restaurant owners who believe in us and the work that we do. So they donated the food, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay?
So, but we're going to have a presentation.
We're going to have a flower presentation, right?
Flower presentation.
Okay.
Okay. You hold the flowers, too. Okay. Because I got to say something. The mayor might find this funny. I'm not going to pull out my black glove today, but I want you to know we have some radical women in the house. And those are the women of the Wells Fargo Regional Foundation, because they understand you're not supposed to just promote the status quo. We're about changing it. So we have a special, just a recognition. We want to thank them, Denise, Crystal, Lois, everybody from the Wells Fargo team, and certainly our board member. So here we go. So we have just flowers, yes. So the flowers did not come from the garden, but when you leave, you'll get some honey that really did come from the garden, and that was from here. Thank you. Okay. Is that it?
All right. So
All right. Enjoy the food. Thank you.